all agree. But let's start with you, Trey. I think yours is the most surprising. Why Drew Holiday for MIP?
Honestly, I would be surprised if Drew Holiday actually wins MIP this year. He's going into his 10th season. He would be the second oldest guy to ever win MIP behind Daryl 10 Cups of Coffee Armstrong. But after a really solid regular season, he came into his own in the playoffs last year. 23 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 51% shooting. His usage rate went up, and he really put himself back on the map, I think, as a guy who can be in the top tier of point guards. He's been a solid player early in his career. He was an all-star, but last year, seeing the way he played when the Pelicans were playing fast, it looks like he can make another minor jump. This would be a guy going from solid to star, and I think that's possible for Drew Holiday.
Solid
playing
to very
faster.
solid.
No, that's you. That's you. Stay out of here.
You go with Randall.
Yeah, I'm going with Julius Randle. I think this is a really good opportunity for him in New Orleans because he had a pretty good season last year for Los Angeles. 16 points, 8 rebounds on 56% shooting, but it was kind of lost because the Lakers were so bad. Now he gets an opportunity next to Anthony Davis to really highlight his skills. I think he's a good passer. If he can develop some sort of a three-point shot, then that really opens up his game a lot as well. So I don't think his numbers are going to jump off the screen like they were last year from 16 and 8, but I just think he might have more impact and more people might notice what he's doing on a team that should be in the playoff hunt.
All right, a couple good picks there with the Pels. I like Miles Turner of the Pacers to take a jump because he's been in the league 3 years. Had some injury problems last year. He has not lived up to expectations in a league that should be his. The league should be eaten out of the palm of this guy's hand because he's a big that can defend on the perimeter. He can shoot the three ball. He should, he's quick. He is an athletic big. That being said, he hasn't been right, and I think what's different from last year to this year, when I picked him to be most improved last year, is that he's getting cut. He saw what Victor Oladipo did last year and how he transformed his body.
It worked for him.
And Miles Turner, I think, just saw that and said, okay, I'm going into a contract year. Another reason why he could be most improved player. He got all cut up, and he saw what it takes to improve from Victor Oladipo. I think Victor Oladipo had a huge impact on that team, the way he just took control of that team. So I think Miles saw that.
Going back-to-back with the Pacers for most improved.
Sure.
Very, very. I'll go Eric Gordon, as I said. Sort of similar, I think, in ways to Turner. He just turned 23. He's going into his 5th NBA season. He's secured his bag. He got paid 4 years, $76 million during the offseason. So he's the face of the franchise for the Magic. And he had career highs in scoring and rebounding, assists and steals and all that, but his efficiency took a hit last year, so he's got to get that back. But you remember, the first 20, 25 games last year, he was on fire. And then injuries caught up to him. He had a concussion, then he had a calf sprain, he had a hip flexor. That really took, some shine off his solid start to the season last year. So if he can, come out of the gate hot again and keep that going, maybe even get the Magic sort of at least in the weird playoff race where that is the Eastern Conference. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's the East. Doesn't take a lot of wins. He might get some play there for most improved. I'd like to see him take it to the next step, and I think they expect that from him.
Well, they
obviously
give him
with
the
the
money,
contract and just being the face of the franchise.
Because remember, they were kind of dangling him in trade talks as well.
Yep.
So it was quite a turnaround to then give him that big contract and say, we want you to be the guy who delivers for this team.
And he's playing the right position, which helps.
That's absolutely right. All right, next one here. Question 13 overall. Which player or team has the highest worst of the year potential? I turn to you, Tass. We hand out worst of the week every week, and then someone gets the worst of the year. Who's got the potential this year?
Yeah, the dishonor this year. Here are my top 3 picks. I think there's a few teams that could definitely take it this year. We'll start with the Washington Wizards. They had a tumultuous locker room last year, and then they added Dwight Howard and Austin Rivers to that mix. Could it be worse than last year? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so, but
It could.
There's a possibility. The Lakers, a bunch of characters, as we know, Lance, JaVale, Rondo, and this has already happened in the preseason. Look at Rajon Rondo on the bottom of the screen. This is the preseason. He's not letting other guys high five. I think they'll be all right in the locker room, but this kind of stuff, you can win worst of the year for that kind of stuff. And the Sacramento Kings also get a vote just in case Vlade Divac decides, hey, we're going for it, and trades all his young guys for somebody in his 30s that isn't really going to help them. They could win worst of the year for that, and I could see Vladdy taking a chance. They've won it before, the Sacramento Kings have. 3 options: Wizards, Lakers. I don't think the Lakers are going to be bad in the locker room because LeBron will control that, but maybe on the court. And then the Kings for off the court, front office stuff.
Wow, the Kings would be the first ever to win worst of the year.
Twice.
Because they won it a couple of years ago. Okay, so it's in play. Do you like one of those teams more than the other?
Yeah, I think the Lakers for me, but there could be some comedic genius out of that team as well. I mean, I think we're just going to see every day there's going to be something worth watching, whether it's in the locker room or on the court or on the team plane. Who knows?
Do you prefer calling them Mud or the meme team for that Lakers bench?
I mean, I
LeBron
feel like we have
Mud.
a little ownership over
Yes.
the meme team, but it's too good. It's so much better than Mud to me. And plus, JaVale McGee came up with it. It's perfect.
All right, let's hear from you guys on Twitter, #TheStarters. Who do you think has that worst of the year potential? Who just screams it to you? We got to take a break. But when we come back, the burning questions, they continue, including whether LeBron is still the NBA's best player. Don't go anywhere.
BATV.
Into the up-down report as our 50 burning questions continue. Let's hear from you guys on Twitter, #TheStarters. Thumbs up or thumbs down with these ones, guys. First one here in the up-down report. Is LeBron still the best player in the NBA? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Everybody.
Still doing it. We're still doing it.
Yeah, no one's better than him, are they? There's a lot of really good players in this league, but if you were to have one player to pick, everyone would still pick LeBron. He won't be forever. He's probably only got another year or two left with this title. But for right now, he's definitely still the best player.
You can't make a case for a Durant
You can make
or
a case.
Giannis or an Anthony
You
Davis.
can make a case for sure.
I think Lee makes a good point. If you're talking about one game, you're definitely picking LeBron. We just saw playoff LeBron literally dominate the entire playoffs. I think he averaged 100 points a game and hit 16 game winners. That may be off, but in the regular season, he picks his spot. So I think you can make a case in that scenario for Kevin Durant being the best player in the game. He can do everything that LeBron can do. He just doesn't necessarily have to do it as much. Over the course of a season, maybe Kevin Durant is the better player, just for a full 82 games. But if you're talking one game, you want LeBron.
Agreed, yeah. Kevin Durant might have the better season this year in terms of numbers. LeBron's numbers might take a step down a little bit with everybody else handling the ball. But LeBron in a playoff series, you take him. He takes off possessions throughout the league. I think KD offers a little bit more defensively. And this might be the last year that you give him the title because he is 4 years older than Kevin Durant.
Right.
It will happen at some point. LeBron will get old at some point, but doubting him now is just pointless.
Okay. Next one here, guys. Are you up or down on the New York Knicks making the playoffs? Are they getting back into the dance? Whoa, wow, everybody going down, even in the Eastern Conference.
If they had Kristaps Porzingis for the whole season,
Yeah.
I think they're definitely in the mix, but he is their best player, and he's the future of their franchise, and clearly he's their biggest concern. There's talks about him coming back maybe in February, but even then doesn't seem to be set in stone. They're taking their time with Kristaps. They got their draft pick next year. It behooves them to be bad this season, so no rush.
But you're
Getting
saying
Kristaps back.
if Porzingis was there on opening night, that maybe you could talk yourself into it. But
I could definitely talk myself into it. Would it happen? I don't know. But the Knicks were a lot better when he was on the court. 17th in defense. When he was off the court, 30th. It's that easy.
Yeah, not only that, when he does come back, he's probably going to take a little bit of time to get back. But I actually like the move of Dave Fizdale as their head coach. I think he's the right coach for this team. So it's going to be a tough year. But the Knicks do sort of have some, the horizon is brighter, especially with young rookie Kevin Knox coming along. I think he's going to be a good player. So it's going to take some time, but the Knicks are at least not as bad as they've been in years gone by anyway.
I don't think there's a chance with Kristaps Porzingis out, and they want to keep Kristaps Porzingis out. I think they understand we got to be bad. They finally said, for the first time, we're not trading our draft picks. And do GMs ever say that? I think this is like a first. They literally came out and said, we know that you can pick holes in our 18-year past, the last 18 years, but we're not doing it this year. It's not going to happen. They understand. Let's be bad. So I think they want to be bad.
Yeah, that's possible.
Kristaps should sit out until March, April. Take as much time as possible.
Well, that will be interesting to watch, I think. How are the Knicks flirting with 500 somehow when the idea of Porzingis could come back, and do they want him back and trying to get into the playoffs? Or are they horrible, can't rack up the wins, it's all about development for your young guys and Robinson and Knox and Frankie Smokes, and do they just say, you know what, no rush at all with KP? I think both of those are in play. It just depends sort of on their record when we get to around the All-Star break when they're hoping he might be able to come back.
Frankie Smokes.
I love calling him Frankie Smokes. All right, next one here. Are you up or down on James Harden repeating as the NBA scoring champ?
I think I'm down.
I'm down. Yeah.
Down. Trey says, why not?
Exactly. Why not? He's still in his prime. He's the MVP. He led the league in scoring. The system hasn't changed. He's still going to have the ball in his hands all the time. They lost a little bit of scoring, the Rockets did, in Trevor Ariza and Luke Mbah-a-Moute. That's 20 points. Surely Carmelo Anthony will take a couple of those, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Harden puts up 30 a game again this season. That's incredible. Nobody can guard him.
Yeah, no, I think he can easily get to 30 a game. I think Anthony Davis, though, might be this year where he decides to take over. He was pretty close there last year. He was fantastic in the playoffs. So I think maybe that Anthony Davis just sort of puts his stamp on the league this year and gets that scoring title. But who knows? I mean, in Houston, even though they've added Carmelo, I agree that it might not actually affect or impact James Harden's offensive game in a negative way at all.
Harden has won everything now, other than in the postseason. So I think he realizes I got to lay off a little bit because he gets gassed in the postseason each and every year. So I think his numbers will fall a little bit, and that doesn't bode well for plus 30. I think 26, 27, which is plenty for them. They'll be fine offensively without him scoring a ton. I think Giannis' season starts now. I think this could be his MVP season with Mike Budenholzer. That is their big offseason acquisition. Mike Budenholzer, the Bucks head coach, I think will unlock Giannis a little bit. It's funny to say Giannis was locked and not a great version of himself last year because he had 27 points per game. But I think this year you'll see more movement. You'll see more freedom with that Bucks offense, and Giannis will score a ton. I think he could be 30+.
Those are two solid picks in Giannis, Anthony Davis, maybe Harden again. Let's hear from you guys on Twitter. Hashtag the starters. One more here in the up-down report. This is a fun one. Up or down on Tony Parker looking the weirdest in his new uniform, more than anyone else in the league.
Yes.
Thumbs up, and thumbs up. There are some strange ones, but Tony Parker, because he played so long
I thought
with
he was
the Spurs, now he's in a Hornets uniform.
I just couldn't believe he actually left the San Antonio organization because, honestly, I thought they were going to just change the rules for him and say, whatever you want to stay, Tim and Tony and Manu and those guys would just stay Spurs for life. So seeing him in Charlotte is very, very
he's
weird.
also going from black and silver to white, teal, and purple. It's such a huge change. Also give a quick shout-out, though, to DeMar DeRozan. I was shocked seeing him play in his first preseason game with the Spurs wearing number 10. I think that's the big thing to me is that Dennis Rodman is always going to be the Spurs number 10. And DeMar DeRozan, he doesn't have green hair, I've noticed. Sort of a similar thing to wearing the red uniforms with the Raptors. Now he's going monochromatic and white and black. That threw me off.
You ultimately go in with Tony Parker being the weirdest, though?
I agree with the Spurs because they are neutral colors. Anytime you change jerseys, it's louder than white, gray, or black, or camouflage gray.
Well, let's hear from you guys. Again, jump on Twitter, hashtag the starters. Who looks weirdest in their new NBA uniform? What about Melo? Melo in the Rockets? Not a big deal because he's played on a couple teams over the last couple of years.
And he's buds with those guys as well, So,
Didn't take that into consideration.
He's friends.
My bad. All right, when we come back, we will step into the crossfire. Tass versus Trey. They're going to debate, or at least try and build, the perfect NBA dunk contest field.
Come get it.
At least get it started. Don't go anywhere.